Bro, you ever notice this? You go on a streak, a proper one. Not just 2 or 3 days. I'm talking like a couple weeks, maybe even months. And during that time, you feel different, clearer, more confident, more in control. You start thinking like, okay, this is it. I've finally beaten this. I'm not that guy anymore. And for a while, it actually feels true. Almost like you can't recognize your old self that used to struggle with lust. You go like, wait, was that really me? But then, out of nowhere, you fall. And it doesn't even make sense. Because you weren't even struggling like that before. And now suddenly, you're right back in it. And the worst part? It feels like you lost everything. Like all that progress, all those days, just gone. So you sit there thinking, what was the point of all that? Bro, listen carefully. Your streak wasn't fake, but it also didn't set you free. It just gave you space. Space from the habit, but not freedom from what was driving it. That's the part nobody really talks about. Because when you're on a streak, it feels like you've changed. But what actually happened is, you just created distance. And distance can feel like transformation until something triggers you again. And when that trigger hits, stress, loneliness, boredom, whatever it is, you don't go back because you're weak. You go back because nothing inside you actually shifted yet. That's why it feels so sudden, like you were doing fine, and then, boom, everything collapsed. But it didn't collapse in a moment. It was already there, just waiting. And bro, I've been there. Long streaks, feeling like I finally figured it out, feeling like I'm done with this for good. And then one small moment. Maybe it's just a random memory, something you thought you already forgot, or someone you used to watch, and it just shows up out of nowhere. And before you even realize it, your mind is already gone. And you're sitting there like, how am I back here again? But here's what I had to realize. You can train your behavior without transforming your heart. You can avoid something without actually losing the desire for it. And that's why it comes back. Not because you failed, but because it was never fully dealt with. That's why the Bible doesn't just talk about stopping sin. It talks about renewal, a change from the inside. Because if nothing inside changes, you're just managing the outside. And managing only works until it doesn't. So no, bro, your streak wasn't useless. It showed you that you can say no. It showed you that you're not controlled by this. But it also exposed something deeper, that there's still something inside you that runs back to this when life feels off. And that's the part God actually wants to work on. Not just your actions, but your heart. So next time you fall, don't just look at the streak you lost. Look at what led you there, because that's where the real work is. And once you start seeing that clearly, you stop chasing streaks, and you start chasing change.